How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new movie, and that is Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. Yeah, they didn't really need the awkward subtitle, but the studio wants the franchise name in there. But anyway, this just came out May 24th, 2024, and is directed by George Miller, the same guy that's made all the past Mad Max movies. This movie stars Anya Taylor Joy, Chris Hemsworth, and Tom Burke. Now, I really am glad that this movie finally came out. Like, we heard rumblings about it right after Fury Road came out. In fact, the scripts were actually written back to maintain character and continuity, and we heard about it back then, but Fury Road was about 10 years ago, almost, and we're finally getting this movie to come out. But that being said, it was definitely worth the wait. This is a really good movie, and if you guys get the chance at all, I would definitely recommend seeing it on the big screen. It does a lot of really cool stuff. It's one of those movies that after you see it, it sticks in your head. Like you're just driving down the road the next day and you're thinking of all the cool car action, and you step out of the theater and it takes you a minute to remember, like, you're in the real world now, not post-apocalyptic Australia. It's definitely one that sticks in your head for a while because it is a good, well-made, layered movie, and I really did like it, and I'm glad that we finally got this thing. First and foremost, is the movie nails spectacle. And spectacle is one of those things, I mean, you get so many, like, modern Marvel movies nowadays that's just CGI garbage with no planning and just throwing vomit at the screen. But here, they have a sense of purpose. All the gags are well planned out, everything tracks, and it's mostly done practically. And there's so many cool, well choreographed stunts, and you follow them, and you know what's going on, and you know where all your characters are, which shouldn't be a thing I have to bring up, but apparently it is. And there's so much good just camera work in this movie, following characters through crazy complex things, often on moving vehicles, shots that show distance like super well, or even just the way the camera will move and refocus on things to tell the story right. There's so many super impressive moving pieces, and then to capture it all right in the camera, it's cool, flashy photography, but not for the sake of being flashy, but for the sake of telling the story at the right scale that it's supposed to be. This is also the story of someone's life. I think it spans like 15 years, and honestly, at times it feels like an old fantasy movie, you know, an old sword and sandal one, where you really get the scope of I had peace and I lost it and now I have to go on this big long journey. And you really do get the sense of Furiosa's life and all the characters within it. And so much of the world is so well planned out. Balances of power, how the economy works, and even just the physical structure of all these different cities. And there's so many things, not just the city design, but the vehicle design and the weapons and tools. It's so well thought out. And there's so many things like, you know, bad guys are attacking this oil rig and they have like little parachute things that they send out of their bikes that got guys on them. And I'm like, how do you even come up with half this stuff? It's so big, so over the top, so energetic and clever. I'm honestly just super amazed and impressed with it. If you guys like Fury Road, this is more of that, and it stays on a really good, really high caliber, and actually would work out really good as a double feature with Furiosa and then Fury Road back to back. I would love it if a theater played that and you just got all that energy in one big sitting. It's cool. Go check it out. I really did like it. I want to go ahead and do a bit of analysis now. I'm not going to do any major spoilers. I'll try to be a little vaguer than I normally am because I know people are sensitive to spoilers on new movies, but I do want to break down and analyze some. I won't be ruining the end or anything, but if you haven't seen the movie, you can go ahead and pause it here if you want. Again, no major spoilers, but let's dig in a little bit. We open up with little Furiosa in a abundant village, a place of abundance. And she's eventually kidnapped by these biker gang, and her mother tries to save her. And we know that this quest is doomed because otherwise the movie wouldn't happen. But it's not just a quick thing. They play it out, and it's this, like, over a whole day on bikes chasing each other through the desert. Honestly, it feels like the beginning of Stephen King's The Gunslinger. And we do get several cool moments just in this opening shot. But eventually, we get Furiosa left alone, and she knows she has to stay quiet and not talk about her homeworld, or it's going to get raided. So she's off, she's alone, the start of her epic quest. And that's where we get Chris Hemsworth as the leader of this biker gang. And I will say it did take me a minute to see him as this different character and not just this clean-cut Marvel actor. You have to kind of transition him in your head to being this post-apocalyptic warlord who is very, very over-the-top Australian. They let him use his Australian accent and, do a bunch of wisecrack jokes, which were pretty fun. But on top of him being fun, he is an interesting thing that gets thrown into this world. Like I said, the balance of power and economy are all super well thought out. And here you have Chris Hemsworth, who's a guy that wants power, and he's smart enough to get a group of people to follow him and have some strategy, but he's not smart enough to avoid dangerous things. Like, he's not smart enough to not pick a fight with a Modin Joe. Yeah, that's not a good idea. So he's inadvertently tearing down a fragile balance of power to try to take it over himself. It's an interesting character there. But yeah, Modin Joe is back, and I had avoided a lot of the trailers, so I didn't know he was going to be there, and it was super cool to see him again. But I do like this other perspective that we see him by, because he's a bad guy. He's still bad, but he's not this film's bad guy. And to actually live under him for quite some time, and to have this evil guy, but he's the source of balance and stability in this world, that's an interesting perspective. But Furiosa will eventually wind up there, and a lot of time will pass. And I will say, we spend a lot more time with young Furiosa than I thought. The child actor does a really good job, although it is a little silly that when she's a little kid, she's called Furiosa. I thought that would be a nickname she got when she was older, but young Furiosa will eventually grow up and turn into Anya Taylor Joy. And I really do love that this is a story of someone's life. This does take place over the course of like 15 years, and we get to see her become the character that we know, and it's not just getting the arm. She starts off, she has to lay low, she's in danger, she's staying under the radar, and we get her transition from that into someone who is known and respected and powerful. So to get her going from having to hide to someone who doesn't have to hide is a really interesting and powerful story, and I really do like that. But also, she will get out onto the road. She will learn the ways of road war, and we get some absolutely amazing and breathtaking sequences. And yes, road war. There is action sequences, but there are also downright war sequences. Big, cool, epic sequences leading to a really satisfying finale. The movie's a little on the longer side, but it needed to be, because we needed to see all this cool stuff, and we needed to see the emotional weight, and it earns everything by the end of it. I can definitely recommend this movie. Again, it has scale, and it should be seen on the big screen if you have an opportunity. It's really good. Watch this, and then go back home and watch Fury Road, because, again, I think they will make a really good back-to-back double feature. And yeah, I recommend this. Go check it out. It's cool. Anyway, though, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my 2024 movies reviews. If you guys want to see me talk about things like The Strangers just came out or Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, you can click right there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.